Hey, what's going on, guys? In today's Game Changer book series, I'm going to cover Hal Elrod's book, The Miracle Morning. Now, in this book, he shares a lot of good strategies for those of you guys that are either having a hard time waking up early or that want to improve their game day after day. There's some great tips and steps right here. And I'm going to cover 3 of the key takeaways that I got out of this. So let's jump right into it. So I guess it'd be a little bit important about how I actually heard about Hal Elrod. I was at an event called Amplify Las Vegas. It took place over the summer of 16. And he was one of the speakers that came up, I believe, on like day 2. Never knew about the dude, didn't really know anything about him. So then when he came up and started preaching Miracle Morning, and a few of the people in my little group that we were sitting with, they were all like, "Oh, dude, he's here! You know, he's like a legend." And I was like, never heard of dude, but I know he's probably going to be pretty good if everybody's preaching about him. So when he came up on stage, he's a real cool guy. You could tell he was really optimistic, very happy. And so when he started speaking, he really shared his backstory as far as like how he got to where he was up on stage that day. And it was a real deep personal story. Pretty much to sum it up for you guys, and I know if you read the book you'll get a little bit more insight on that, but for the most part he was a dude that was he's one of those salesmen for, like, he worked at like Cutco, so he was always in the sales and trying to really move up on his business level aspect when it came to that. And he was doing really good for himself. He created, you know, he had a lot of people under him. He was real cool. He was real positioned. And then out of nowhere, while driving home from a conference, a car pretty much hit him head on. And it was him and his girlfriend. So they were getting on the freeway. There was an opposite car coming on the freeway going the wrong lane of traffic, and they collided at like 70 miles an hour, he said. So pretty much you can only imagine that type of car crash. The car was crumbled in. Him and his girlfriend were pretty close to dying. His car would like crushed his skull. Had like gone through his like side. He was all fucked up. They got him to the hospital, and then he was in a coma for a few days or either weeks. Don't quote me on it. But so he was in that coma. He was in a huge accident. The news was all over it. He wasn't expected to walk afterwards. So when the doctors shared the news that he had survived, but the chances of him actually walking were very slim, you can only imagine thoughts going through his head, you know, being like 21 or 22. But one of the things that he told us, and one of the things that he shared with us, is that he wasn't mad when the doctors told him that. So then the doctors were like talking to his parents like, "Hey, look, I don't think he has a chance to process what happened yet. I don't think he knows or realizes that he's not going to be able to walk for the rest of his life, or the damage of his situation, you know, like his head being skulled in and having to have, you know, all kinds of shit going on." And then he was just like, "Okay, well, it is what it is," you know. And he shared with us that when his parents told him about this, he said, "Dad, Mom, you know, like, I had my 5 minutes of being angry." He said he had a 5-minute rule, which was pretty much whatever happens in life, you have 5 minutes to be fully pissed off at whatever that situation was. But after those 5 minutes are up, you have no more bitching or complaining. It's all about taking action and changing or improving your situation. And that really shone through to me when he had that conversation, because for the most part, it doesn't matter what situation you're in. Everybody's in tough and difficult situations. So there's only 2 ways you can really ever look at that situation. You could look at the glass half empty, or you could look at it half full, you know. So that was one of the biggest things. When he was talking up on stage, it really impacted me. And then he started sharing some of the secrets in this book, some of the steps that he outlined. And I was like, I gotta buy this book, because dude like really impacted me personally, and I wanted to also share it with you guys because I know it's really going to help a lot of you guys out this year. And we're all on the same tip as far as like, how do we continue improving performance, how do we continue improving results. And in these book series is how I'm going to get through to some of you guys that want a little bit extra reading or extra materials for you guys to really get on. So I'm going to share the 3 things I got out of it. Like I said, there's a lot of tips in here. He created this whole system, and it's really based around his acronym S.A.V.E.R.S, which S stands for silence, affirmations, visualizations, exercise, reading, and scribing. Now, it's something that he created, that he himself was working while he was on the road to recovery and really improving his own game. He really started, you know, just preaching and working on that aspect of it. He created a ritual for himself, And what he did is he created that ritual, outlined it in this book, and this has gone to become one of the top best-selling books out there right now. The first takeaway that I got from this book is that you don't have to naturally be a morning person to be able to live this kind of life or start this kind of ritual. I know a lot of you guys, and me personally, were all about working through the night. You know, it's all about working through it. So getting up before 5 or around 4 a.m. was freaking really hard. I mean, me personally, I'd always wake up. The earliest was, you know, like 6, maybe 5:30, and now regularly my sleeping time now is like 7:30. So you know, you just have to reduce the clock as the days go on. And for the most part, I think that's the biggest thing, is that a lot of us aren't morning people, and it's very hard to try to adjust to a morning schedule. Even though you're not a morning person, you can become a morning person, and once you become a morning person, you'll see a lot of personal results being accomplished. Because I think that's one of the biggest things, is that when you're on the day-to-day and you're either running your business, working part-time, going to school, working full-time, there's a lot of things in life that automatically start bugging you. Like, there's so many things that want your attention that it's very difficult to finally get some time to yourself throughout the mix. So waking up early gives you that opportunity to really give yourself some time to either exercise, to meditate, to praise, you know, like to do your prayer, and really sets your day up for something that's you're controlling versus it controlling you. And if you have kids or anything like that, then I personally don't have kids, so I can only imagine how much work goes into that. So I think the early morning times is going to continue being my personal sanctuary, my personal ritual before the day gets started and everybody wants my attention. And now the second key takeaway from this book is the process and the concept that he really drives forward with his life and his talks, and especially in this book, is creating the level 10 lifestyle. What do you want to have in life? Like, what would make your lifestyle be a 10 out of 10? Not like a 1 out of 10 or a 2 out of 10. Like, what is a 10 out of 10? And in chapter 1 of this book, he really covers that level 10 lifestyle, and he titles it, "It's Time to Wake Up to Your Full Potential." Meaning that a lot of us aren't living up to that. We're not daily constantly grinding out in a way where it's productive, it's building on it, and we're truly capitalizing on our strengths. So on page 2, he says, one of my favorite sentiments ever shared by Oprah was when she said, "The biggest adventure you can take is to live the life of your dreams." And he couldn't agree more. Sadly, so few people ever come close to living the life of their dreams that the phrase itself has become cliche. Most people resign themselves to a life of mediocrity, passively accepting whatever life gives them. Even achievers who are highly successful in one area, such as business, tend to settle for mediocrity in another area, such as their health or relationships. As best-selling author Seth Godin so eloquently put it, is there a difference between average and mediocre? Not so much. There is nothing that says you have to settle for less than you truly want in any area, just because most people do. Even if most people, including your friends, family, and colleagues, you could become one of the very few people that achieve extraordinary results in every area of your life simultaneously. Happy, health, money, freedom, success, love. You could really have it all. It's simply dedicating purposeful time each day to become a level 10 person that is capable of creating, attracting, achieving, and sustaining level 10 success in every area. What if I told you that it all starts with how you wake up in the morning, and that there are small, simple steps you can start taking a day that will enable you to become the person you need to be to create the levels of success you truly want and deserve? So that right there is pretty much the opener to his book. He starts it off very, very strong, and he pretty much challenges you to think outside and say, can you have the best life you can? You know, and then he really starts giving you some of the steps that he personally took to create the most optimistic life and the most well-positioned life for himself. And he shares that with millions of people all over the world. So the third key takeaway of this book was definitely the key steps that he provides to creating the optimal morning is to wake up early, to exercise, to have a moment to actually meditate, silence, praise God, thank him for what he's given you today, for what he's going to give you this week. And then visualization is very important. The visualization part of actually seeing where you want to be. And then reading, so reading either a part of a book that you want to finish. I try to at least read 10 minutes every single day, and I do it in the morning. And then when it comes to scribing, one of the steps on there is also scribing, and that's pretty much where I write down my plans. I write down my goals. Like, I've created this book has laid down the steps, and I kind of just mingled with it in my own way. And you could take it and do whatever you want with it, but as long as you start applying some of these, you're going to see some really cool results throughout your life. If you don't like any of that shit and anything I just talked about right now, I would say one of the biggest key takeaways that I've gotten by far out of this book was moving my alarm clock away from me. So instead of it being like an arm's distance and like grabbing it and turning it off and saying, okay, I'm just gonna sleep for like another 10 minutes, it's still only 4:30 or it's still only 5:30, you know? Instead of saying that and putting it back and then sleeping another hour or whatever, my phone and my alarm stays on the other side of the room, and it's on very loud. So whenever it rings in the morning, I have to physically get up off of the bed and go turn it off. And while I'm up, of course, now you start questioning yourself. You're like, dude, I'm awake. Let me just go use the bathroom, you know? So then you go right to the bathroom, do whatever you gotta do. And then you're like, I should just brush my teeth, you know? So then you start brushing your teeth, and then you start drinking some water. And then if you organize your morning the day before, you would have had your workout clothes in an area where you're like, okay, let me just put my shorts on. Let me just put my socks on, you know? And then by the time you know it, you're dressed and ready to go work out. So it's all really set up in a way where the steps in this book help you get up early, and they help you actually start living that miracle morning type of mentality. I highly recommend you guys check it out. It doesn't matter whether if you're already doing good in business or if you're struggling to do anything in life, like, this book is going to help you increase your performance, guaranteed, all right? And it's very minimal. I want to say it's like $9 or something. It's a paperback book, very affordable. Links are in the description below, so if you guys want to pick that up, just head to the links in the description. I'm pretty sure it's available at the local library as well, so check there first before you buy anything. But honestly, it's one of the best books that I have laying around, and I've actually bought multiple copies, and I give them away to friends or to people that are in my life that I feel might really benefit from it. So it's very inexpensive, and I highly recommend you guys also pick it up. I want to make sure you guys are on that right tip, and you guys are doing everything you can every single day to get better and to really improve your guys' lifestyle and your guys' situation. So I hope you guys enjoyed this book. Comment down below with what you think of it if you have already read it, or if you have any other suggestions on books such as these that you might want me to check out or review. I'm always about learning more and always about just reading. Like, I love to read. I don't read as much as I should because I only dedicate about 15 minutes a day. So for the most part, about a book a month. And I try to read books that are going to continue allowing me to better understand people or better understand processes, or, you know, like, I'm always about just educating to become, you know, to just get out of my own circle a lot of the time. So if there's anything you guys recommend, just comment down below, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.